Hey everyone, welcome to section 5.1, question number 2, periodic interest rates. So in this question, we have a savings account and we're going to leave funds in for 1 year without adding or withdrawing anything. And the question is, what type of interest compound would you prefer? You can have it compounded daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. And we have different rates. And ultimately, we're trying to figure out is we need to convert our periodic interest rates into our effective annual rates. So if you recall, we're going to need a formula. Okay. So this formula gives us a conversion basically from APR to ERA. Now, what's nice about this question is they actually give us the periodic interest rate. So this is our periodic interest rate. It's not actually our APR. It's the APR over M, okay? And ultimately, again, we need to convert to ERA. So before we punch anything in here, let's start by creating a little bit of a table here. So first thing we want to know is what period, okay? These are periodic interest rates, so we want to know what period we're dealing with. We want to figure out what is the number of compounding periods per year. What is our APR over M? So again, that's our periodic interest rate. And once we know those, we can figure out, we'll plug it into our formula, we can figure out our ERA. All right? So let's start with the first question. Okay, so the first part of the question, we're dealing with the daily compound rate. So daily is our period, okay, so we know it's being compounded every day. So what does that mean in terms of how many times it's being compounded in 1 year? Well, if it's daily, it's every day, so 365 days in a year, okay? Now, our APR over M, recall, is our periodic interest rate. Well, they give us the periodic interest rate here, okay? So that's that 0.045%. Make sure that we know it's a percent, okay? Now in this case, it's rounding a little bit. It's good to see everything, so let's keep it that way, okay? So in terms of figuring out our ERA, well, we'll just plug it into the formula that we have here, okay? So it's 1 plus, remember, the APR over M, that's what is given to us, which is our periodic interest rate. Okay, it's going to be to the power of 365. In other words, our number of compounding periods, and we're going to subtract 1. All right, there we go. So that is our ERA. Now in this case, they want it in a percentage. So let's go ahead and change that to percent. And they want 2 decimals, so it looks like that's going well. Okay, so we can plug that in here. So 17.85. Okay. So now next we're moving on to weekly. So again, we can sort of complete our table here. So we're going to deal with weekly. So if it's going to be compounded every week in 1 year, it's going to be 52 weeks, right? Again, they've given us our periodic interest rate for a weekly. So the weekly compound here, 0.035%. Okay. And again, I just want to make sure that we see And now the formula, again, we can just drag and drop, but it's going to be the same formula. And we can start comparing our ERA. So remember, this is our effective annual rate. So this is what we're actually receiving, okay? And we can continue. So next is monthly. Okay, so in a month, it's going to be 12 times compounded, okay? And our monthly rate is 1.35%. Let's just move on. Quarterly. Okay, so quarterly is going to be 4 times in the year. We have it 4.15%. And semi-annually, so that's going to be twice. And our rate gets a little bit higher. Okay, and ultimately we're just comparing rates. And finally, annually, okay, so that's always just be 1 time per year. I have 17%. All right, wonderful. So, again, it's really important just understanding the amount of periods in that compounding year, okay? And once we can do that, we're just going to drag our formula down. And a very good sign is if we are compounding annually, okay, then our APR over M, or APR, should be equal to our ERA, okay? Because remember, it's the effective annual rate, so they should be equal if we're compounding just once in that year. So I've gone ahead and completed most of it, and we'll just finish things off. Again, reminder, at an annual rate, 17 is going to be equal to the APR. And if you take a look, it looks like our daily rate, okay, so if it's compounded on a daily level, we actually earn a higher interest rate compared to all the others. But this is a good opportunity to start comparing and making the best decision in terms of how to save as much as possible. Thanks for watching. Happy financing.